So how did it happen?
I had.
Please, I need you to be very
I'm going to
sincere.
be very sincere. There's no need lying. I'm a child of God. I'm going to be very honest. So the thing is, I had a job. I got a job, and just a very simple job. Nothing difficult at all. Like there was no big deal about the job, but I had an issue with it. I wasn't able to deliver as I was supposed to deliver. But I take responsibility for my part. The part I messed up. I know I could have done better, but it wasn't entirely my fault. How would I have an event and 3 hours to the event? You've not paid me, you've not done anything. Like, what was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to use my money? And even if I wanted to use my money, I didn't have a dime. There was nothing I could do.
Calm
I didn't
down,
have a
David.
dime.
There's no need getting.
What was I supposed
calm
to
down,
do? I'm
please.
calm,
Calm
I'm not
down.
angry. What was I supposed to do? What was I supposed to do?
Okay, fine. So what did you do?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Well,
David, can you tell me the truth? Can you tell me the truth?
it wasn't my fault. I didn't do anything.
You didn't do anything, so why are you here?
This is the morning of March 12, 2023, Sunday morning heading to church now. Yeah, the video you saw in the beginning is not a fluke. A big mistake actually happened in 2022. I want to share with you, alright? So before I do that, I want to take you on a journey because I remember from the beginning of 2022, I told you that a lot was going to be done last year. And by God's grace, we were able to do a lot, right? And then this year is going to be better. But I want to take you on a journey on how each month was for us last year. Yeah, so let's go. So if I've not already said it to you, Happy New Year. As you may know, this is the first video of 2023 and today is March 12th, yes. And I've not done anything. I don't know. It's not like I've been busy. I guess I just wanted to plan a lot of things and get it done, right? So like I did more of planning than implementing, right? So this video is about the biggest mistake I made in 2022. Okay, from the intro, you must have seen that something really happened. For those that may know, for those that were there with me while it happened, at least you know what I'm talking about already. But if you were not there, then it happened in December. But I'm going to briefly take you through the year 2022 each month, so you see the highlight of each month for me. So in case you don't want to see that, you can as well skip to where you see December in the video. So let's go. So in January, I returned to IT in Lagos. Okay, I worked at Talent City Energy Limited. So after the New Year break, after the Christmas break, I returned to complete my 6 months IT. In February, I think February 4 or thereabout, I finished my IT. Then in March, I came back to Ibadan to resume school, right? But I guess they had other plans for us. So that was when the 8-month strike started. And nobody expected it. Everybody was prepping for school, doing course registration and all of that as it's a new session, right? And I was going to just enter my final year, but I didn't know by this time I would have been done, but I didn't know they had other plans for me. Then one major highlight aside the strike of March for me was mass. I think mass 9.0. Yeah, mass 9.0 that I had in UI. I was privileged to be part of the technical team, and I saw things live, and it just increased my love and passion for sound. Then in April, I think I did a video about that. In April, that was when I entered my depressive phase. Am I really permitted to call it depression? Anyways, then in that same April, I think towards the ending of April or mid-April, so yeah, I got a call from my first music video. You can see it on the screen. That first music video, first of many, by God's grace. Okay, spilled over into my birthday, May 14, and I think at the end of May I was able to get it done and submitted. It took like 2-3 weeks more than the estimated time, right? Because it was my first time doing something of that manner. Then on May 14, I got the biggest. May 14 was my birthday, right? So I got the biggest surprise of my life. I got the best gift of my life. I know you might go that the gift of salvation, this and that. Don't even try to sound too religious, right? I'm a Christian. Okay, if you don't know I'm a Christian, I'm unapologetic about it. But okay, let me say I got the best material gift of my life, and that is what is behind me right now. But that's that about me. Then June, I got accustomed to the new interface of a MacBook. It's not as easy as it seems, being between those for about six years now. Get a MacBook, you have to get. So it took me a while. Not like I really didn't do anything. I really can't remember what happened in June. Then in July, I can't remember. And in August, I went on the feed and I did a wedding video. Like I shot a wedding. And after the shooting, I was excited about it, of course. And just a family friend, right? So he just said, let me give David this thing, at least it will be his first. He can use it to add to his portfolio. Well, I jumped on it with excitement. My dear brothers and sisters, by the time I was done working on field, that was my first time on field. Okay, I've done short movies and all of that, but basically shooting, that was my first time on field. I decided that I'd rather remain in front of my computer than go on field carrying cameras up and down. I'd rather have someone go shoot for me than bring the footages and allow me edit than me going there. It was stressful, very stressful. Stressful is an understatement. Like, just stressful, especially being that, okay, these people, they didn't know that the church they used were going to make their videographers and the cameras available. So that was using a phone. So you can imagine when very little boy with giants, like carrying phone up and down, like they would think I'm unprofessional, even though I was really unprofessional, so it gave me a little bit of visual. I had to squeeze myself to take some shots, and some of them were very shaky, no gimbal. I was just using a tripod, and it was sort of kind of very tricky. And I don't know why. I've tried to find excuse for why it didn't go as smoothly as I would have loved it to go, right? But these are the reasons. I think, one, I wasn't the only videographer. Two, I didn't have a professional equipment, and I'm not even sure they have released the video. I mean, the couple I shot for, maybe they are not proud of it. I also couldn't release because they had not released it. So I'm just saying I prefer to be on system than be on feed. I don't know about you, so let me hear what you say. Then in September, I finally got a response. I can't remember when I applied to the scholarship scheme of Kunle Afolayan Productions, CAP Film School, right? I can't remember when I had applied. I think it was in May or April now. And I finally got my tablet in September, and the experience was surreal, guys. All of that for free. I think the only thing I had to pay for was delivery fee. Aside that, watching those videos from Kunle Afolayan School, big professionals, member Blue Pictures Initiative, distribution, editing, cinematography, script writing, it was just brilliant. I was glad I got that for free. Basically, it was free. I think you normally pay the 20,000 to enroll normally, right? 20,000 or something. I really can't remember. Then in this same September, I'm in September now, right? In this same September, I got a job with one of the best couples I admire, right? And the reason I admire them is both of them are video editors. Okay, and name of the company is On Fire Studios. So I was working for them, and full time, right? I was working for them full time. Gabriella and Eric, if you ever see this, know that I'm very grateful and I'm a big fan of yours. I enjoyed working with you, actually, even with the stress, the length of videos, and the work rate that we had to put into it. I really enjoyed working with them. Yeah, I think in September, November, we're already planning for resumption in school. So that's when I had to step down from On Fire. Then during that period, I got one of the highest paying jobs of my life, as a video editor, right? So there's the motion graphics work for GoToCourse. Yeah, it's an online learning platform where you can learn tech related skills, right? And the work was very stressful, honestly. And when I take jobs, I do not think I am not able to pull it off. In fact, I have the belief, and I've told some people, that whatever you can imagine, it can be done. It's just depending on your knowledge, your skill, and the tools you have at your disposal, right? But whatever it is you can imagine, it can be done, especially in this period of AI, right? So the only thing that can limit you per se is your imagination. So whatever it is you can imagine, it can be done, right? Through the whole year, I became more active on social media. I did some things that I never thought I would have done. I never thought I could do, especially on Instagram. Like, do some things and put yourself out there, some things that should naturally make you shy, but against all odds, to the glory of God, I was able to do them. Then in November, my church CCI clocked 10 years. I think it was that's 12 November 11, right, 2022. We clocked 10 years. So I had to go to Lagos, and you won't believe, for the first time I traveled without informing my parents. I just said, it's not necessary, let's just go and come back, nobody will know. I don't know if they will ever see this. I'm sorry. Anyways, in December, the job I got in November that was pending, it was supposed to be on December 10 or thereabout. So they had to shift it a week backwards because the place they booked had already been booked for that day. They had to shift it a bit backwards. So I was grateful because CCI Reboot Camp was that December 10th period. They shifted it back. It was a very easy job, very, very easy job. I already said this in the intro video. It was an easy job, but it required a lot of equipment. So I was in charge of lighting, I was in charge of sound. There were some issues. I won't entirely give you full details, but it so happened that I needed to rent some things for the event. You know, myself, I did not have these things, so I needed to rent lights, floodlights, and I needed to rent the sound equipment that I would use for that event. And money wasn't forthcoming. A day to the event, there was no money anywhere. The morning of the event, there was no money, and I understood. The guy that linked me up, that gave me the job, I've worked with him before, so I even put myself in the place of I'm going to try to help this guy as much as I can, even if there's no money on ground. I'm really going to try to help him. You know, that was my mindset. It was just the brain behind the whole event. It wasn't the one raising money, it wasn't the sponsor. But you know how tricky these things can be. So the sponsors sent money, like, I think the event was supposed to start by 4. They sent money around 12 or 1:30 there about, I really can't remember. And I just had to move. By that time, I couldn't rent the floodlight again. They had already given it out. Okay, like, I couldn't rent it again. I needed to have deposited money to get it, you know. And then fine, the sound guy I work with him a lot, and I don't see, it was the devil. It was obviously the devil. I had been talking to him. He's my buddy. I've been talking to him for a week or 2 weeks before that time. I sent the list of what I needed repeatedly to him, only for him to show up with things entirely different. And the thing that messed the whole thing up the most was the generator. You know, like, you're supposed to bring a 12 kVA generator, you bring a 2.5 kVA generator. What am I supposed to do with that? You can imagine. And I told you it required a lot of equipment, right? So I needed to have enough power. When the generator was not powerful enough to, you know, power the whole thing, then we began to feel like unprofessional folks. Thank God for the people I worked with were my own folks, like literally friends, right? So assuming I had to hire people from outside, it would have been crazy. Long story short, the money they had sent me, I had not paid for the sound gears. The only thing I got were the individual bulbs, like the globe, normal 60 watts kind of globes, not 60 watts now, can't remember, kind of globes, you know. And then again, I totally forgot that I was working with generator, and I went to buy the 100 watts bulb, the yellow one that usually draws power. You know, that was one of the worst jobs I'd done in my life. Long story short, the guy that I think one of the major sponsors said he will see me after the event. I was already panicking, so I just went to him after the event, and we talked. He said they didn't want to hear anything. They had not completed their payments. The one they paid already, I think he asked for, I'm not exactly sure of the numbers now, about 70% refund. And I'm like, no, I can't give you 70% refund. I can't give you. And he threatened to beat me up. He actually threatened to beat me up, you know. And I just sent the money to him, gave him, and I left with the mindset I was going to talk with the guy that linked me up. But in his defense, there was nothing he could have done. It was just the link up. It was just the brain behind the whole idea. There was nothing he really could have done. They were the sponsors, right? So they were the ones that owned the money. If it were not for my church and the people I worked with, I would have been in a very huge debt. And the guy I told to bring the sound equipment, he didn't even come with his. He came with another person's own. So if it were to be his own, at least I would not have to talk to him. But that person was already disturbing him. It was just totally messed up. Like, that was the worst situation I'd been in my whole life. I don't want to ever be in that situation again. But now I know better, right? I totally know better. So that was what happened. And I got into like a debt of about, I think, calculating everything, it would have been entering, I guess, 150k, but I didn't end up paying my church, and I didn't end up paying the people I worked with. So they even more sympathized with me, you know, than fighting with me, right? The only person I needed to pay was the man that gave us the equipment, right? And I couldn't even pay up to, I think I was supposed to give him 80 or thereabout, and I gave him way less than that. I'm not sure we ever see this, but if you see this, thank you. I know we fought, and we actually fought, and we said a lot of things to each other. You trust me now, I didn't say much. But if you ever see this, thank you for understanding, and you should thank me for understanding you too. Anyways, but thank God showed up. I think towards the end of December, I got another job, and you will not believe that I had PTSD, like a fear of failure. Like, you failed in this one, like, what is the guarantee that you won't fail in this one? It was just ringing in my head, you know. But we thank God. I think I got to the venue of this second job like 3 hours earlier just to make sure everything was set, so I won't just to calm down and do everything and make sure it was set. But this one's helped, they paid in time, right? So they helped. So it was a difficult period for me. Thank God for family too and people that could help me raise the money, right? But it was a difficult period for me. So when I mentioned in the intro that I didn't do anything, actually I didn't do anything. That's why I found myself in that kind of situation. There are a lot of things I could have done better, and that's one thing I learned through the whole of 2022. There's some things that you don't need to experience yourself. When they say experience is the best teacher, it's a lie. There's some things you don't need to experience yourself. You can experience some things by mere counseling and asking questions. There's some things some people have experienced that you won't need to experience. I have a number of bosses in the sound feed that I could have talked to before taking on a huge task. So in 2022, I learned a couple of things. Number one, to trust God. I can't overemphasize that. Number two is that God knows. God is aware. God is totally aware. Like, he's not in a position that he's closing his eyes to whatever it is you're going through. He's totally aware. Number three, there's God in the doing or action. When God says go, please go, because it's in that period of going, in that moment of going, that it will show up. So when he says go, it's not, if it seems like it doesn't necessarily show up at that point, in that period is going, that's going to show up. I remember I was sharing the experience of he said I should start something, and I knew my old system, if I had started, it was going to be very difficult. So I just said, let me just go on with it, and I started working towards it. I not started shooting, but I started scripting. Then it was in my moment of going, my moment of doing, right, that he showed up. And it has happened with a couple of people like that, people that I know. So when God says go, there's God in the doing, there's God in the going. Next thing is pursue purpose. Please pursue purpose. I know it might seem intimidating to do some things that God has said you should do, but you're not doing it for others, right? You're doing it because God said you should do it. All right, so just go ahead. Don't mind what people say. See, and the thing is, you have to have shock absorber. When God says you should do something, not everyone will totally support you. So when that shock comes, go back. By the time it comes and it hits you, you bounce back on God and you bounce back. You hit God and you bounce back. So you have to have that shock absorber, especially if you're going to be doing things and be putting your work out there in media. For example, you have a lot of backlash. You just need it. You need it, and you learn resilience during that period. Okay, so I think those are the things I learned, and I got better in quite a couple of things. Spiritually, it was my best year ever. I think it was just a beautiful year. 2023, I told you this is March. 2023 has been a lot already. I wrote my exams in January through January. Then February, no particular job has come yet. I was expecting that after January that the jobs will start trooping in, but none exactly yet. I don't know where you guys are. Please be fast. Don't waste my time. Okay, then this is March. Nothing has come yet, but there has been work going on. Just that I can't begin to say it now, but work has been going on. So, we thank God. 2023 is going to be a great year. We know it's going to be a great year. And I mentioned at the beginning of 2022 that it's just going to be a collaboration with the Holy Spirit, right? It's whatever He tells us to do that we're going to do. So that's how 2023 is going to be. But it's going to be better, right? By God's grace, it's going to be better. I've started second semester, right? But this is not hard. I won't be taking this too serious again, like try to set up this, set up that. I think I mentioned last year, but let's see how it goes. So thank you for listening. I hope this video isn't too long by the time I'm done editing. But I'm David. You can call me General D. Remember to always keep it real, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe here. Please do so. I love you, and peace.